Hey, it's Joe. Welcome back. Just want to let you know where you can find me on Instagram. I'm at Joe Ryan. On the web, joeryan.com. If you're struggling and you're trying to work through your false self, your family system role, trying to get unstuck, I do offer coaching. That's at joeryan.com/coaching. If you want to find all my social, YouTube, Twitter, all that other fun stuff, you can go to joeryan.com/links. I'm just starting to get myself back from long COVID. Brutal. No other way to describe it. Just absolutely soul-crushingly brutal. It's taken time to get my body back, but it's the mental part of it where I don't trust my body yet. So I have to slowly start building myself up. The walks are getting longer. The time active and vertical are a lot longer than the horizontal position that I spent almost 3 months in. I don't trust my body. I don't trust that the long COVID is going to slowly creep back in. So I'm very cautious moving forward with my time, space, and energy. I'm only planning 1, maybe 2 things a day. And my body's holding up, but it's that mental memory that lingers in the background in my mind that if I push myself too far, I'm going to be knocked out for a couple of days. It's the same feeling I have working through trauma and the anxiety. With each layer of defense that you pull away, you recognize, you understand, and you start to resolve. We think it's going to magically just lighten us up, but we still have the memory of what it was like dealing with those defenses. It's learning how to live, not fearing them coming back. And that takes time. So with each layer, your body, your mind, and soul has to become accustomed to this new way. When a fear is taken away, it's not an instantaneous soaring through life. It's undoing years of those tension and holding those body muscles tight and the short breathing and the obsessive thoughts and the fears. See, it's hard to start trusting that it's not going to come back right away. As you start living more and more, and you get enough space from the time you uncover that layer, it'll slowly dissipate. See, at some point, I'm going to wake up one day and I'm not going to worry about long COVID slipping back in and debilitating me again. I'm not there yet, and the only thing that's going to do that is time and leaning into the fears of it coming back, not being as cautious, pushing myself just a little bit more every day. And it's the same with trauma recovery. We don't trust our bodies. We don't trust our minds. We don't trust our nervous system. For the most part, I do not live in fear anymore all day. For the most part, I do not have a constant trauma response that is just turned on high all the time. And when I get these empty moments where there's peace inside of me, I tend to immediately panic when I realize that I'm not panicking, because it's always been there. My job, my life has been to manage fear and emotional reactions and obsessive thoughts, and trying to figure out how to get out of this apartment safe, how to interact with people feeling safe. I never knew what I was going to walk into as a kid. When I woke up and walked down those stairs, I was terrified. I would lay in bed in the morning and obsess about anything that I could have possibly done the previous day that may upset somebody in that house. And I would play it through my head 8,000 ways so that no matter what I was met with, I would be able to defend myself. That's a shitty way to live. My job, that became my job forever. Constantly obsessing and preparing for the worst. How do you live with any kind of joy when that is your default? My job was emotionally taking care of my nervous system and my fears and the people around me, managing it in a way that I felt safe, that I had to do it perfectly so that nobody can call me out on anything, because I just lived on guard and defensive and fearful. When you discover what the fears are, where they came from, why they're there, how you react, you can slowly start to dismantle them. And that's what I've been doing for years, is leaning into the fear. I mean, listen, I avoided any kind of pain and uncomfortable forever. And then once I got into it, there was no stopping. It's like rock climbing. You know, you're halfway up. You can either return to base camp and let it kick your ass and feel defeated, or you can keep climbing and keep scratching, keep clawing your way through it. And that's where I've been, is just fighting through this endless sea of shit and pain and hurt and humiliation and abandonment, betrayal. Man, it's like it felt like it was never ending. When you get to a point where most of that is resolved, you feel emotionally unemployed. I've lost my job of managing my feelings and emotions. It's not a 24/7 thing anymore. And I don't know what the fuck to do with that sometimes. That's all I've known. I've been in the same job for decades. And now I'm out of work. I have one skill, one trade. How do you wake up at this age and decide you're going to have a new career? You know, this shit is etched in my brain, body, mind, and soul to live this way. And it's not there. And there's like a void inside of me. I went back in emotional time from an adult to a young man, to an adolescent, a teenager, a toddler, an infant. And I tried to find and work all of the wounds that had accrued over all these years and undo them to get back to this point of origin as close as I could to removing as much of my false self as possible. And I'm insecure right now. I am not standing on safe ground. I feel great, but there's an emptiness and an absence. I feel confident when I'm in panic and anxiety and trauma and terror. Like, that shit is fucking normal. Peace, serenity, care, understanding, self-love. That shit is foreign to me. And it's taking a while to start to trust that. It is very odd to feel emotionally unemployed. When things come up now, I'm not so overwhelmed emotionally that one little thing just drags me down into the abyss anymore. When it comes up, my plate is clear enough to handle it and process it and take care of it almost immediately. But there's a fear of living. There's a fear of getting back out there. Because I don't trust it yet. I don't trust that I can survive the day without it coming back. So just like with the long COVID, I don't trust this new place that I'm at. So I'm still cautious with it. It feels good. And the fear is different. It's a better kind of fear. because it's not a trapped fear. I'm not sitting here isolated, fearing interaction and something happening or going out and, not being prepared. This fear is leaning into it. This fear is a choice because I'm not happy enough where I'm at. I'm not content. I know there is so much more I'm capable of. I know there's so much more the possibilities. I know that there is more joy and happiness and exploration waiting for me. I'm in this period now where I don't trust where I'm at. And each layer that I peeled away was the same. But I had so many other things to work on that I wasn't paying attention. But now I'm paying attention. I am not confident right now. I do not feel confident in the new way that I'm living. I'm enjoying it, but it is frightening because the choice is different. It was defending fear. It was uncovering fear. It was hiding from the fear. It was fearing the fear. The fear now is standing up on my own 2 feet and owning who the fuck I am right now. And I've only been here for about 10 minutes. So how can I feel confident with the new me? I don't know what that looks like. I don't know how that is. But I don't need to know. All we really need to do is just get up and start showing up and moving in directions that we want to move in, no matter how fearful it is. You see, the only thing that's stopping us is us. Nobody else is stopping us anymore. The fear and the judgment of other people for me has subsided tremendously. I have found my way. I have found a place in this world for me. But now what am I going to do with it? How do I move forward? For somebody who always had to figure everything out before they even put on their pants in the morning, I'm just getting up and putting them on and getting out. And I'm taking the day as it comes. And to not have to plan your whole day and think about it and make sure this is okay and is this safe and am I going to be okay with this? What does this look like to me? What does this look like to others? What kind of feeling is it going to give me? Like that's that endless fucking rattling in your brain. We're going to strip ourselves down. We are going to go through the layers of defenses. We are going to eliminate them. They are going to start subsiding as you do the work. You're going to get to this place that you're just scratching your head and going, how the fuck did I get here and where do I go now? And that's exciting. It's terrifyingly exciting, but in such a good way. It's such a different fear. It's a different kind of work. We have to learn how not to stop ourselves from doing what we want. When we get that impulse and we get that feeling inside and we want to make that move, we go up into our head and we talk ourselves out of it because everything needs to be planned down to the second. Routines and rituals were our safety. That was also our prison. Learning how to become comfortable without managing your emotions all the time. Understanding that you're allowed to have space. You're allowed to have freedom within yourself. And you're allowed to move into the places you want to be and be with the people that speak to you. It's all inside of you. It's just getting to it. See, I really truly thought that when I uncovered as much as I've uncovered about my past, that it would have been this magic little light bulb that went on where everything was just going to be easy. I'm not living in fear of the past anymore. I'm really living in fear of the future. Because moving out of my comfort zone, I feel like I don't have a safety net. All of the shit that just has been ringing inside of me is safety. It's familiar. It's comfortable. I hate it, but it's normal and it's predictable. But we don't want to live that way anymore. I don't know what my body's going to be like going out today. I don't know if I'm going to do too much and the long COVID is going to hit. Probably will, because I always push myself too much. But I can sit here and try to manage it and figure it out perfectly so I do the right amount, where it's not too little, it's not too much. But I'm limiting myself. And I'm doing the same thing with life. I am very fearful right now. I don't know where my life goes from here. I've spent too much time thinking and feeling and working to getting to this point that I never thought what was going to happen when I got here. Because I just thought it was going to magically all be taken care of. Moving forward is different kind of work. I didn't have a choice with the trauma. I had to deal with it. I had to resolve it. I had to work through it because I wanted a better life, and I have a better life today, but it's not enough. There is so much more waiting for us out there. I don't trust that I am going to hold up. I don't trust that I'm not going to fall apart emotionally. I'm afraid of overshooting my comfort and going too far and getting triggered and falling back into an abyss. I do not like a slow grind. I do not like being patient. I do not like waiting for things to resolve themselves. But that's kind of what it is right now. It is a slow grind. It is being patient. It is waiting for this last layer that I just passed to become comfortable with it so that I have the foundation and the confidence from where I'm at. I am living so vulnerable. I am putting myself so far out there in some areas in my life right now that feel absolutely amazing and right, and it's just harmony with inside my body. And then I go up into thought. I'm not comfortable here. I haven't lived here long enough. I'm not competent. What if this is bullshit? What if this is a facade? What if this falls apart? We just have to learn how to enjoy it and stop self-sabotaging in our minds. The fear for me is living vulnerable and open and honest and genuine and real without the pain, without the hurt, without talking about trauma, without talking about abuse. I mean, I could do that all day long and not get bored. I could live here all day, all the time, and I feel very strongly about my confidence level in it. But what about the rest of my life? I'm not confident at all in so many other areas. Do I want to just become some social media whore that's online 24/7, producing podcasts every week, shooting videos, taking pictures of what fucking salad I ate, and become a slave to algorithms just so that I feel good about myself in this one area? No, that's an addiction. That is using something else to feed a part of me. There's so much more. It is about balance and patience and understanding and self-love and self-care and not abandoning yourself, not giving yourself up, not falling into trends, not becoming what society wants you to be and needs you to be, to find out who you are underneath it and to take chances and to put yourself out there. And not wait until you're 100% ready to do it, because you're never going to be 100% ready. And this journey does not stop. It never ends. You never get to a point where you're comfortable and you're competent with yourself that you can just exhale and go, okay, I'm done. I've arrived. Because your soul is always going to want more. Why do you think you're listening to this? You want to feel better. You want to identify. You want to connect with other people who have the same as you, because you have felt alone and isolated your whole life. And you don't want that anymore. That voice that pushes you through, that keeps you journaling, that keeps you listening, that keeps you writing, that keeps you reading, that keeps trying to want to better yourself. That voice will just get louder and louder and louder and louder. And it's going to keep pushing up and keeping you fighting through. Because there's so much more. There's a depth to our soul that is endless. You will never reach the bottom. You're pushing through. You want more. It's fear. Lean into that fear. Uncover your fears. Find out what they are. Dismantle them. And when you have resolved a decent amount of your past, you will start to see that there is a pathway forward that is unknown, that is frightening, that has endless possibilities. You can be whoever you are. We just don't know what that looks like because we have spent our entire lives working on our emotional bullshit. And when you don't have to work on it 24/7 and you have that space, you're going to scratch your head because you're going to feel lost. Because who am I without it? I am emotionally unemployed. I don't have a fucking job and I don't have a purpose because I never knew how to live. I never learned how to live. Because how can you live when you're a helpless victim, living in learned helplessness and self-sabotage and self-hate? You're going to find out who you are without all of those things. It is just a very slow grind. It is trial and error. It is putting yourself in places that are unfamiliar. And this is why we don't want to do it. As shitty as our lives are and have been with trauma, safe, comfortable, predictable. And when you live in fear, those things are highly important in your life. It is the things that are unpredictable, that are unknown, that we just don't want to lean into. Because we have to access on the spot. We have to start to learn how to trust ourselves and trust our reactions and trust our voice. Confrontation, disrespect, somebody shitting on your self-worth, somebody taking you for granted. See, I don't put myself in those positions normally because I don't have a good reaction for it. I either withdraw and hide or I will come at you hard. Like there is no middle ground. It's a unconscious reaction. When we can start learning how to trust ourselves, we can put ourselves in unpredictable situations and trust that no matter what comes up, we will take care of ourselves instinctively based on our self-worth and our soul, not on our fear and our trigger responses. Keep digging down and back, but also keep moving forward. Find small things in your day to feed your soul, to offset the work you were doing. 24/7, see, we're in a rush. 24/7, 365, that's how I worked on my issues. I never had balance. When you dig out far enough, you will start to find the balance. You're going to keep pulling back to the old and the familiar because it feels safe and familiar. That is a normal part of the reaction. It's like when you break up with somebody. It was a shitty relationship. They didn't treat you well. And then 6 weeks go by, 3 months go by, and you're starting to think about getting out there in the world and start dating. You constantly go back in your mind to that person. As shitty as that relationship was, it was familiar. And to start a new relationship and start dating, to go through the infancy needs, your adolescent needs, all the abandonment, all the fears, the rejection, the humiliation you're opening yourself up to. Like, why the fuck do I want to do this? I could just go back to what I know. But what I knew sucked, but it was familiar and safe, and I knew the rules. It's the same with your emotional well-being. When you're getting out there further than you've been, where you don't feel like you're on solid ground, you're going to want to go back to what it was. Fight that. Thanks for listening. You can contact me at joeryan.com. Follow me on Instagram at joeryan. And if you want, you can leave us a review on iTunes. That'd be great. All right, take care.